back to the Holy Land. The third thing that he'd have to do would be to restore the state of Israel. The fourth thing he'd have to do would be to ensure that that state of Israel becomes once again the ruling state in the world, once again. And so the golden age will come back. And then the Messiah can rule the world from Jerusalem. And so while they're weeping by the rivers of Babylon, they're waiting for that day when the Holy Land will be liberated. And then there was an awesomely important change in international relations. The Persian Empire defeated Babylon. And the Persian king, then having liberated the Holy Land of Babylonian rule, then ordered that the Jews be allowed to return to the Holy Land. Not as tourists, but to reclaim it. And that the temple or the masjid be reconstructed. And so when Banu Israel returned to the Holy Land and the temple was rebuilt, there is expectancy in the air. The Messiah must be around the corner. Everybody is talking about it. Messiah must be around the corner. And then Allah raised a man. Oh, he was a very strange man. You can't find such a man in Singapore anymore. He used to wear clothing of animal skin. And he used to eat wild berries and honey and so on. And when he spoke from the heart. It wasn't just words. And the truth came out of him. Because in his heart there was light. Singapore, are you listening? In his heart there was light. You can't buy that light in the stock market. And this man began to proclaim the truth. And this man began to denounce them for their betrayal of the religion of Abraham, and call them back to the right path. But it was like the voice of one crying in the wilderness. The rabbis wouldn't listen to him. And then this man began to proclaim, the Messiah is coming. Or when he spoke those words, it was like electricity in the air. It spread like wildfire. The Messiah is coming. And then one day, when the Messiah, who is now a grown-up man, came back to the Holy Land, he came directly in front of that man. And then when that man saw him, he said, "Here he is. This is the man you've been waiting for. This is the Messiah." The son of Mary. Who was that man? John the Baptist. Yahya alayhi salam. I told you. Tabule, can't find people like that anymore. But when they speak from the heart. And who have light in their hearts. And when they call the people to come back to the truth and to the path of righteousness, it's like the voice of one crying in the wilderness. But when he said, "This is the man you've been waiting for, this is the Messiah," then Jesus, the son of Mary, responded and he says, "Yes, I am the Messiah." And then the Quran declares, فَآمَنَتْ طَائِفَةٌ مِّن بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ. Part of the Israelite people accepted him as the Messiah. And they believed in him as the Messiah. Yes, they did. These are the poor. These are the ones who are humble and lowly in the spirit. These are the innocent at heart. وَكَفَرَ الطَّائِفَةُ. But another part of Banu Israel rejected him. This is the elite. This is the administration. This is the establishment. This is the rabbis. They rejected him. Why did they reject him? Number one, وَنَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ هَذَا. He's a bastard. A bastard cannot be the Messiah. Why? His mother was the most famous girl in all the land. The most pious, the most virtuous, the most learned girl in all the land. Mary, who had lived in the temple itself, in the masjid, under the guardianship of the chief rabbi, Zachariah himself, from age 2 until she reached the age of puberty. She now has the monthly cycle, so she can no longer live in the masjid. When that child was in that masjid, I tell you, those rabbis must have had a lot of fun. They must have enjoyed having her in the masjid, particularly Zachariah alayhi salam. In those days, the masjid was built differently from today. The mihrab was not a little niche in the wall in the direction of the Kaaba. The mihrab was a separate room called the Holy of Holies. And only the chief rabbi could enter that room. And in that room were the sacred relics, like for example the Burak. So Mary was allowed into that room because Zachariah alayhi salam had guardianship over her. One day he entered into the mihrab and he found her with food. Mary, where did you get that food? So the little girl responded, I asked for it. He sent it to me. The old man must have taken off his hat and scratched his head. She asked. He sent it. I want a son. I should also ask. Huh? And then he went into the mihrab himself when he was all alone, and he asked. And then the angel appeared to him and said, your prayer has been answered. You will have a son, and his name is going to be John. Yahya alayhi salam. Now, the whole world knew about this. And so Mary is a very famous girl. One day she disappears. She had left the temple and she's now living with her parents. One day she disappears. And then after a few months she returns and she has a baby. And when they ask her, Mary, whose baby is this? She points to the baby. She knows. Oh yes, she knows. Because the angel told her this baby is going to be the Messiah. So she knows. But it is a part of the divine plan that she is not to speak. She points to the baby. They said, Mary, how can a baby speak? But the baby spoke. Quran declares the baby spoke. But when the baby spoke and proclaimed, I am the messenger of Allah, they said, هذا سحر مبين. It's pure magic. Pure magic. And so they denounced her. They declared of her that she had committed that vile deed of fornication because she's not married. How can you have a baby? This happens when you see with only one eye. Had they been seeing with two eyes, not one, you know the second eye? The heart can see. Had they been seeing with two eyes, the external and the internal, they would have asked themselves a question. No one knew she was pregnant. No one knew. When the baby was born, well, why didn't she not get rid of it? Give it up for adoption. Put it in front of somebody's front door and run away. In New York, they put it in